Hi, welcome back to my channel and my September reading wrap up and October TBR. I'm Kate. I'm an average paced reader. I love dark romance and romantasy, and we're going to be talking about what I read in September and then picking a hopefully spooky gothic TBR for the month of October. I'm really excited to pick my October TBR, but really quickly we're going to run through the 4 books that I read in September. That is maybe a little on the slower side for me. If you had watched my September TBR video, you will know that I picked out 6 books for September, which was very, very ambitious, and a few of those were romantasy / fantasy books, so there was going to be some hard work for me and I didn't manage to read them all, but I'm absolutely fine with that. Let's start off with the very first book, which was an audio book with duet narration, and it was Bourbon and Lies by Victoria Wilder, and I loved it. This was a solid 4 stars for me. I'm not really a contemporary romance reader, so when I find one, especially if it's part of a series that I really like, then I'm going to binge them, and this is definitely a series that I'm going to binge. So we have some really fun tropes. We have a grumpy sunshine, hidden identity, slow burn romance in Bourbon and Lies, and I loved it. It isn't a cowboy romance. I think some people think that, but it's not a cowboy romance. It is set in Kentucky, so like the south of the USA in summertime, so we've got like a nice summer romance going on. FMC basically has to move with a family of bourbon distillery like owners. They run their own bourbon company, and she's escaping basically a killer who she like witnessed one of his crimes or something to do with one of his crimes, and she needs to hide out with this family for a little while, and she goes and she meets these 3 brothers. Now the Bourbon Boys series is a series of 3 books, so each one centers around one of the brothers, which is so fun. And she obviously meets a cast of characters. So you've got the 3 brothers, you've got their grandfather, it is, and then you've got some like friends as well that come into the mix, so there's a found family vibe in there. It was just filled with banter. The spice was really good. It was like a nice slow burn. We had some really good backstory, a little bit of grief thrown in there, so it pulled at your heartstrings, made you feel emotional in places, and it was just done really well. I can't believe these are indie published. These are indie published, like they're not been picked up from what I can like research online, not traditionally published. They're just really good. So if you've seen this series floating around and it's caught your attention, I highly recommend it. I am waiting for my Audible credit to come back through, and hopefully I'll use that towards some of the others, depending on like Christmas, that kind of thing. I might purchase the physical books because I love a trophy. I love a Kindle / audiobook trophy, a physical book to go on my shelves. So we'll see. But yeah, I highly recommend this book. And then the next book that I read was One Dark Window. So again, if you had watched my September TBR, you would have known that I picked One Dark Window and the second in this duology, Two Twisted Crowns, from my TBR jar to read both of them in the month of September, and I managed 1 and 30%. So I read this both physically and via audio, so I think I used my Spotify audio hours for this one because I used my Audible credit for Bourbon and Lies. This is obviously a really well-known duology, so you've got One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, part of the Shepherd King duology. This is by Rachel Gillig. She's known for her gothic, romantasy type of books. I had been recommended this by so many people. Obviously her book The Night and the Moth came out earlier this year and everybody has been raving about it, and everybody says if you like that you need to go and read her Shepherd King duology. So I gave this 3.5 stars. It was good. I enjoyed it. I was just not pulled into it, not as sort of deeply invested as I thought I was going to be. With The Night and the Moth, it took me about 30-35% and I was hooked. I was just so sucked into that story. But this one, it took a little bit longer for me. I will tell you when I really got hooked, and that was at get about 5% into the second book. So I managed with my Spotify hours to read all of this and then get to about 30% of Two Twisted Crowns. So with Two Twisted Crowns, because of the ending of book 1, you jump into someone else's perspective in book 2, and that's when I felt that I was really sucked in. So not that that changes too much about this book, but yeah, 3.5 stars. But I am still wondering, did I miss the hype? Do I not get the hype that everybody else is like talking about? I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely not going to be God tier for me unless something amazing and miraculous happens with book 2. I think it'll probably be another like roundabout 3, maybe 4 star book. But yeah, I don't want to discourage anyone from reading this because so many people love this, and that's what's great about reading. It's subjective. Everybody has different opinions. Everybody has similar opinions for some books. So for me, it was 3.5 stars. It was good. I'm interested in the magic system. I like where the romance is going. The dark, what's his name? The Nightmare. The Nightmare was like my favourite character. That's what I put in my Goodreads review, that he was my favourite character because he was obviously dark. There's just so much that we don't know about that character, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone that's not read them. But yeah, I'm really invested in the story from the second book onwards is maybe the best way of saying it. And I'm just literally waiting for my Spotify hours to come back to finish that off. So I'm glad I started it, but I'm not in love. We'll see. And then the third book I read was Shallow River by H.G. Carlton. Again, another TBR pick straight out of my jar was the book name. And I gave this 3 stars. It is dark. Check your triggers. Go into it. Be mentally prepared to not like one of the main characters, to maybe feel frustrated with another main character, and just to be a little bit hurt and bruised and broken like our FMC River is. So our FMC River is essentially in an abusive domestic violence relationship, and this story is about her past, her current relationship with her partner Ryan, and basically how she gets out of that. So there is a revenge element to this, and that's no spoilers. It does say that in the blurb. This story is about how she gets there. It goes into her past a little bit. It's just really sad. And I think what really made this sad and darker for me is that you realise at some points that it is a story, it is a work of fiction, but it is real life for a lot of people, and that really depressed me. So this isn't a fun book. It's not like a kick your feet laughing, like giggling kind of book. It's dark, and like it was okay. Like I wanted to see it through to the end. I wanted to know what happened. I wanted to know how she was going to get out of this relationship and sort of what was going to happen to the characters, but it just didn't blow my mind. It's not going to be like God tier. I'd recommend it if you maybe want to read some of H.G. Carlton's work, obviously well known for the Cat and Mouse duet, and that's why I picked this book up. But you need to be mentally prepared and check your triggers, please. And then we finished the month off with a book that was not on my TBR, but Waterstones released the pre-orders early. So I got a copy of Taurus Season by Brynne Weaver, and let me tell you, this was a 5-star. 5-star, easy 5-star for me. I am a Brynne Weaver fan. So we have the Ruinous Love Trilogy by Brynne Weaver, which is Butcher and Blackbird, Leather and Lark, Scythe and Sparrow, and then she recently released a little novella, which I read last month, and then you can have a look at my really quick review on that in my last video. But it was like a little spicy novella, and it brings back all the characters from the Ruinous Love Trilogy, and you actually get, what am I saying? If you've read the Ruinous Love Trilogy, read the novella before reading this. That's all I'm going to say. There might be a link. Oh, in this we have a female character, Harper, who lives in Cape Carnage, which is an amazing name for a seaside tourist town. And she goes about her business protecting the town in ways that are a little untoward, maybe a little bit illegal. And then you have Nolan, who is our MMC. He comes in because he basically wants to kill Harper. And they meet, and obviously it is a enemies to lovers relationship. And then there is a sort of third, not like a third, I don't know what you would call it, like a third plot point that comes into it. So we have a true crime like sleuth, so like a forum type of sleuth that comes to the town and basically wants to investigate a known like serial killer that they call La Plume, and he thinks that he's got the person and he goes after her, so he thinks it's Harper. But basically him doing this puts Harper and Nolan in jeopardy of being found out about sort of what they've been up to, so their crimes. So ultimately they have to sort of work together to get him off their heels. And yeah, I just loved it. You have banter, you have spice, you have the murdery sort of antics that Brynne writes so well, and she just weaves like humour into it so effortlessly that yeah, I couldn't put it down. I went and had 3 tattoos on Saturday, and I took this with me, and I had about 50 pages left once I'd finished, because I sat and read it while getting tattoos, which I've never actually done before, but it was just great. I loved it. I've been like reading little lines out to my husband because I was like, this is so funny, or like this is so poignant, or this is so well written. So yeah, if you're a fan of Lights Out, Butcher and Blackbird, then you need to read this. And on to October TBR. So everybody knows October is spooky month. It is the height of spooky season. We are in the bear months. It is cold, like I'm sitting here in a fleece. It's so cold. And I want my TBR for the month to reflect that. But obviously with picking books from a TBR jar, it can't always do that. So I'm gonna maybe break the rules a little bit. We'll see. So I think I'm gonna pick 4 books, and hopefully some of the prompts or some of the books will be some of the sort of more like spooky gothic books that I want to read. So I know that I've got a couple of books by M.L Burns that I want to read before the end of the month, because I'm going to Authors at the Armories, which is a book event in Leeds at the end of the month, and I am going to be vlogging that. So stay tuned and subscribe if you want to see some book event footage. It looks absolutely huge. I think there's got to be like 40, 50, maybe more authors attending. It looks massive. I've never been to a book event. I didn't do Rare, I missed out on Rare tickets, so I'm really excited for this one. So I've got 3 of her books on my TBR cart, and I'd like to read at least 1 or 2 before I go. I don't think I'll manage all 3, but we'll see. And then there is some Riley Sager down here, so a spooky sort of thriller author, so they'd be great for this season. I want to read The Wolf King. I'd love to start maybe Exorcism of Fairies as well. I know that that would be perfect for this season. So yeah, let's pick and we'll see what I get. Phantasma and Enchantress. So I've put both of these on this one little prompt, because if I've got duologies or sort of like 1 or 2 books in this series, I'm trying to like read them both within a month, like read them back to back, so that I actually tick them off and I don't just start another series or another duology and leave it hanging. So I'm gonna take Phantasma because I don't know if I'll do both. I think the second book's downstairs. So this is a dark fantasy romance. Again, a really hyped up book. I think both books are really hyped up. And yeah, I'm excited for this. This will be really good. Whoops. A Frieda McFadden book. I accidentally ripped that. Frieda McFadden. So I have 2 on my shelf here that we could pick from. No, that's a lie. I have 3. So have Woody, the Inmate, and I have one down here which you can't see, The Surrogate Mother. So I think this is like her latest release. She was promised a miracle. She got more than she bargained for. Abby wants a baby more than anything, but after years of failed infertility treatments and adoptions that have fallen through, seems like motherhood is not in her future. That is until her personal assistant Monica makes a generous offer to serve as her surrogate. But soon strange Strange things start to happen, and it turns out Monica isn't who she says she is. The woman now carrying Abby's child has an unspeakable secret, and she will stop at nothing to get what she wants. So that is number 1 contender. Number 2, The Inmate. The guiltiest people aren't always the ones behind bars. As a new nurse practitioner at a maximum security prison, Brooke Sullivan is taught 3 crucial rules. Treat all prisoners with respect, never reveal any personal information, never ever become too friendly with the inmate. Nobody knows that Brooke has already broken the rules. Nobody knows her intimate connection to Shane Nelson, one of the penitentiary's most notorious and dangerous inmates. They certainly don't know that Shane was Brooke's high school sweetheart, the star quarterback, or that Brooke's testimony was what put him there. So that's like a prisoner. So it says it's like a prisoner? It's not a romance, it's obviously a thriller. The Inmate is a propulsive, mind-bending thriller about how we define guilt and who has to pay for it. I think I'm going to go for this one. So, Ward D is the hospital's mental health unit. As a medical student, Amy is required to gain access on the floor, but little do her colleagues know it may force her to confront a past she's fought hard to forget. The night starts, the countdown begins, and patients and staff start to vanish without a trace. It becomes clear everyone on the unit is in danger. I think this sounds like a genuine, like, creepy thriller, like a mental health unit. So obviously you think like psych ward, like maybe some unsafe, untoward people there. So I think, where are we? It's not even 300 pages. That is why I love Frieda thrillers. They're so short. I'm going to pick this one. We're going to go for Ward D by Frieda McFadden. And then book 3. Ooh, Kingdom of the Wicked. So this would be starting a new series for me. I have book 1 and 2 and I've just never got around to reading them. So this is a Kerri Maniscalco book, and it says 2 sisters, 1 murder, a quest for vengeance that will unleash hell itself. So I think this is quite a long series as well, but I'm fine with that. I have so many series that I need to start and tick off. So this will be book 3. And then the 4th and final book from TBR jar will be a Kindle book. So let me grab my Kindle and I'll see what we've got. I think I'm leaning towards a dark romance or something witchy because we've got 2 like romantasies on there. So to like balance it out, recently Penelope Douglas did like a free ebook weekend. So she released, I think, basically all of her self-published works. She released them on Amazon for free for a weekend. So I downloaded those. So those are things like Four Boys and Pirate Girls. What else? I think the Devil's Night series, or no, Tryst, 6, Venom, Punk 57, those kinds of books. So that's an option. Ooh, The Kings of Kearney, Nevessa Allen. So I've wanted to go back and read some of Nevessa Allen's self-published stuff because I loved Lights Out and Caught Out. So that's an option. I've got Fairy-Dale, which I think is quite like spooky gothic. That could be one. I could start the Mindfuck series. I've got those on here. Ghosts of Halloween by Layla Faye. So I think I bought this last year, like last Halloween, and I've just not got around to it, but that could be a really good one. Ooh, so many options. I've got Insatiable. So everybody's been talking about the Edge of Darkness trilogy. So I downloaded, well, it's on Kindle Unlimited, so that's on there. Let's see what else. Let me see if any of M.L Burns' books are on Kindle Unlimited. Yes, they are. So I think we're going to go for Heavy by M.L Burns, which is... oh, there's too many books on there. I'm going to read Heavy by M.L Burns, but on my Kindle, because it's on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm technically not paying any more to read it on there. But I did get the physical copy and the physical copy of her like paranormal romance duet because I wanted to get them signed. So this will probably be my next read, just so I can make sure I finish it in time before I go to Authors at the Armories. So that is the 4 books for this month. We have Heavy by M.L Burns, which is a dark taboo romance. We have Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco, and I believe this is the start of a romantasy, maybe a dark romantasy series. Let me know your thoughts on this because I know lots of people have read it. So is it good? Am I in for a good time? And then we have our thriller for the month, which is Ward D by Frieda McFadden, which is about a mental health unit and people going missing. And then the last book we have is Phantasma. So that is the first in a dark fantasy romance, and I believe it's a duology. Again, highly recommended. Seen this absolutely everywhere. Let me know what you're reading for the month of October. Happy spooky season. I'm so excited. It's my daughter's birthday month. It is start of October, half term at the end, and we get Halloween, trick-or-treating, pumpkin picking, all the hot drinks, all the fluffy cozy jumpers, and I'm just so here for it. So if you have watched until the end, drop an orange heart in the comments and let me know what you're reading this month, and I will see you very soon.